Okay. Patrick Mahomes on facing the Broncos defense. Dan Campbell ahead of the Lions matchup with the Eagles this week. And, of course, he's taken over play calling duties. We'll talk about that. Josh Allen on heading to face the Bucs after the Bills lost to the Dolphins. So much more is coming your way, and we are all here. Hawk, Dan, Field, what's up, everybody?
What up?
Also, hey. Adam is here, so we're going to start there because he's got some news to get to, and he's with us all show long. Adam, let's start with the top stories, including another change for the Giants. What's going on there? Actually, start with Lamar Jackson.
Well, Laura, we're going to start with Lamar Jackson.
Sorry.
Today. Yeah, we're going to start with Lamar Jackson, who did not practice today due to knee soreness. Now, the Ravens say it was more precautionary than anything else. They expected he'll be back tomorrow at practice, but it feels like we're always on Lamar watch. And obviously, the Ravens have another big game. They've begun to make up ground on the Steelers, and now we'll see if he can, in fact, make it back for practice tomorrow despite that knee soreness. Meanwhile, C.J. Stroud did not practice today. He still remains out and is in concussion protocol. Right now, it looks like it's tracking for Davis Mills to start again Sunday against the Tennessee Titans with Stroud still in protocol. And keep in mind, the Texans are on a short week after this week. We'll see if he can make it back then. Meanwhile, Brock Purdy, the 49ers quarterback, is expected to be limited at practice today, but Kyle Shanahan just said that he's going to be aggressive with Purdy today to see how much he can handle, to see if they can get him ready for Sunday's game against the Arizona Cardinals. So there's a chance on Purdy. We'll see how today's practice goes. If not, another start for Mac Jones. And the news this morning is that the New York Giants are shifting to Jameis Winston as their starting quarterback. Jackson Dart is in concussion protocol. With Dart in protocol, Mike Kafka, the interim head coach, has made the decision to tab Winston over Russell Wilson, who started the season earlier on for the Giants. And now Jameis Winston gets to go up against the Green Bay Packers. And Jameis Winston's got to scare any defense because you never know what you're going to get with him. Long balls, interceptions, excitement, fun. Great to watch Jameis. We'll have a chance to do it on Sunday.
I mean, listen, we don't root for teams, but I do root for a post-game press conference after Jameis Winston has won a game. So, 50. Okay, tell him, Dan. Well, that's a prediction. We'll get back to that in just a little bit. Thanks to Adam. He's with us all show long again with more news coming your way. But how about this matchup? The Chiefs heading to Denver this week in an unusual position, right? Third place in the AFC West while the Broncos sit atop the division. Very important game for this team if they want to win the division and even make the playoffs. Crazy to think about. New on NFL Live, though, here's Patrick Mahomes today.
I mean, they're first in the division, and they have a couple games on us. And so it's huge for the division, and that's always our first goal is win the division. And so it's a really good football team. There's no way around it. And so we have to go out there and play our best football, and I don't think we've done that yet. So after this bye, let's go out there, put a great week of practice together, and find a way to win in a hostile environment against a great football team.
Patrick Mahomes is familiar, too, with just how difficult it is to play there, specifically for the Chiefs. Field, how will the familiarity between this Broncos defense and Patrick Mahomes potentially show up in this?
Yeah, you might see his career stats against the Broncos and see 13 wins in 14 games for the Chiefs and think to yourself, this one is going to be in their hands easily on Sunday. But Mahomes has only accounted for 20 passing touchdowns in those 14 games. This Denver defense, new season, new year, but they have been good on defense for the past couple of seasons. And I think this is the best version we have seen of this Broncos defense during this Sean Payton and Vance Joseph era. I think the biggest thing for the Chiefs on Sunday is to be situationally incredible. The Broncos are as good as it gets defensively in the red zone. They have the personnel to do whatever they want on a given play. They want to play man, they want to play zone, they want to rush from forward, they want to blitz, you name it, they can do it. They have the dudes at all three levels. The Broncos have allowed the third fewest trips to the red zone per game this season. You don't get there often, and no team has held opponents to either field goals, turnovers on down on a higher percentage of those red zone trips than the Broncos. They tighten the screws when you do get there, which is not all that often in the first place.
It's a bad matchup for the Chiefs offense. And I know that's the dumb thing to say because it's Patrick and this Chiefs offense. Yeah. But no quarterback has made more above the X's and O's big plays this year than Patrick. I think that's one of the things that stands out is like different this year in comparison to last year with this offense. Holding the ball for a long period of time and creating big plays. The problem is that's not what you want to do against this defense. You know, you can look at it there. If the longer Patrick's held the ball, the more explosive pass plays he's created. But you don't want to live that way against this defense. This pass rush leads the NFL in sacks. And so
by a lot.
This thing that this offense and Patrick has done so great this year is the one thing you don't want to do against this defense. I just don't think you can go into this game thinking, live into that world, and then Hawk, you could attest to this past week with no Surtain. What they did was they double teamed the number one receiver, and then they played zone opposite. I could see them doubling Rasheed, playing zone opposite, and really challenging everybody else but that new receiver.
I can see that as well. I think when I look at the Chiefs' offense, and you know, when you saw them against the Buffalo Bills, they were a little disjointed. You know, O-line was kind of patched together. That should be back and improved against the Broncos, which you're going to need because, as you guys pointed out, they're great rushing the quarterback. They're great against the run, and they're great on the back end. But I do believe the Chiefs have enough firepower on the outsides that if they decide to double a Rashee Rice, they have enough weapons to be dynamic down the field. If they can protect Patrick. I would also say in the running game, like, they were in on the Breece Hall, you know, sweepstakes at the trade deadline, couldn't get it done. But I think Kareem Hunt is playing better than you expected at his age. And if they can get just a little bit above expected, they have the horses on the outside to get down the field. Worthy is a guy that can do it. We've seen Thornton do it at times. Juju, Kelsey, if they are devoting extra defenders towards Rice, I think that they have enough, again, firepower to be effective.
Anytime you're playing Denver for the remainder of this season, who are your tight ends and who are your backs? And are those real pass-catching threats? It's by far the best way to go about it. So it has to be a big Kelsey game. It has to be a big Brashard Smith game when it comes to pass catching, because I just don't think you're hold the football, try to push it down the field against this front with that coverage.
Yeah, go ahead, Phil.
Probably not the week to do it, but you mentioned Xavier Worthy. Are you guys surprised that we haven't seen him basically at all this season stretch the field vertically? I mean, he's the fastest player in combine history, and he's like zero in terms of massive plays down the field, like 50-plus yard receptions.
Andy Reid talked about this week that, like, you know, teams are taking him away because he doesn't have the statistics to back up, like, his effect on the game. He has been effective to a point. I think he played the most snaps of any receiver against the Buffalo Bills. And so you're having to account for him. And in a world where you decide to take away Rashee Rice, to your point, that could be the moment where Xavier Worthy kind of, you know, steps up big.
You mentioned the O-line. Another thing to point out is Josh Simmons has been back at practice. Now, there's no guarantee that he would be back in a starting role, but maybe a little bit more depth there. All right, let's get to some sad news. New on NFL Live, Cowboys coach Brian Schottenheimer speaking today for the first time since Marshawn Kneeland's death.
We had an opportunity last night to celebrate Marshawn's life, tell some stories, share, laugh, cry. Marshawn loved the words "one love," so we talked a lot about love as we grieve, and I just got a chance to really share a couple of things that I'll miss the most about Marshawn. Those top couple things was he had the most playful spirit of any young man I've been around. His smile could take you to your knees. And in terms of him as an athlete, no one had a better motor than him. My heart is heavy. Our team's heart is heavy. We don't move on, but we do move forward. And that's the beauty of a team, right? Like when one side of the ball is playing good, the other side of the ball has to pick them up. When one guy's hurting, someone else has to pick him up. If the head coach is hurting, someone's got to pick me up. And I won't. Now I'm hurting. And these guys have picked me up, and I've picked them up. And that's what we're going to continue to do because we love one another. And it's what a family does.
Schottenheimer talking about the words that they shared together. They held a private candlelight vigil as a team last night. Dan, this is not nearly as important as the life that was lost, obviously, but Schottenheimer's a coach trying to keep a team together after a tragedy like this. How does he do that?
I think that goes a long way. I mean, that was a trademark moment, you know, that 90 seconds. I think the thing that stands out is, like, he obviously knew the young man. This wasn't just a player. He knew him. Just like if I was in that locker room, I would really want my coach to not ignore that it happened. Like I don't want my coach to pretend that what we were going through, it didn't happen. I wouldn't want my coach to give me a lot of idle time. I don't want to be in my locker room a lot, you know, because every time I'm in that locker room, we're all going to see Marshawn's locker. So like I don't want to be in that locker room that much. I don't want a lot of idle time. And so I think that's important. But I think his words were, we have to move forward and not on. I think that's a really big deal is acknowledging where they are and that they're not going to forget. But his words of the team and football and the beauty of that, in the family of that, to use the game and the people that you're playing the game with as part of that grieving process, I think is a really big deal. It's a big challenge. I think to get his team focused on football when it really doesn't matter in comparison to what they're experiencing. So I do think just hearing him speak there, it feels and sounds like he's very much so equipped in that role to help those players go through what they're going through.
You can see how much he cares.
Yeah, I mean, it was very evident he knew that young man. He wasn't just a defensive end who plays for him.
Schottenheimer also said the Marshawn Nealon Memorial Fund has been set up to help Nealon's girlfriend, Catalina, who is pregnant, make sure that the family is taken care of. And you know what? As he said there, as Schottenheimer said,